Most players think that they need to hit a winner to win the point, but that's actually why you're losing. In all levels of pickleball, unforced errors are much more common than winners, even at the pro level. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to apply pressure the right way so your opponents are the ones making the mistakes, enabling your team's success efficiently. So the first mistake when it comes to hitting winners when we don't need to is really with the third shot drive. Too many players, when they get a drive to hit, they want to full send it to the moon, and power does not always win. And this is why when we set up to hit a third shot drive, we want to go for that control, because the control and a lower dipping ball is going to be much more effective. It's going to increase my chances of getting a pop-up from the other team, and in turn, because I'm not hitting the ball as hard as I possibly can, it's going to allow me success on getting to the line. So Grayson and I are going to hit a few back and forth here. I'm going to show a couple examples of what players normally do that we should not do. So as you can see in those examples, I'm really taking a huge backswing, and when you take a huge backswing, the only thing you can do is accelerate forward really fast. When we have a fast swing, we're gonna be able to hit that ball really hard, but very rarely with any control. So the fix to this would be to take a shorter backswing, make sure that our feet are set and prepped early so we can execute a good ball. A lot of players, when they wind up for the drive, their backswing is too big, and they also tense up their grip when it comes to hitting the shot. We want to make sure that our arm and grip stays loose and relaxed, and we limit the backswing and think of it more so as a shoulder turn. So as you can see in those few good examples, I was really making sure that I didn't take my paddle back too far, that I limited my backswing, and I made sure that my feet were set. When those two things happen, that allows me time to hit the ball out in front of me comfortably with accuracy. When I hit the drives a little bit slower and not full sending it as hard as I possibly can, that also gives me time to set up for my next ball. Every ball is a setup. If you're still struggling with your attacks, we have created a free resource for you. Make sure you visit attackmasterclass.com or scan the QR code below. The next area of the court where a lot of players make the mistake of hitting winners too soon is right at the non-volley zone line. This is where the majority of the game is played, and more often than not, players will get a ball that's around head height or shoulder level. What players' instinct is they want to hit an overhead. Everyone loves the feel of crushing an overhead for a winner. When you get this ball at around shoulder level, the mistake that players do is they try and hit an overhead from there, and we snap our wrist, in turn, the ball going straight into the nets. If I make this costly error, it's giving a free point away to the other team. Instead of snapping down with my top of the paddle with my wrist, I'm instead going to shift over if I have the time and hit more of a swinging, sweeping volley. This way, this allows me to still get on top of the ball, but notice my swing path. I'm not swinging down. That is the big key here, all right? I'm limiting the movement in my wrist, and I'm swinging more through and across the ball rather than snapping down. Because when I snap with my wrist, what that enables the ball to do is, if I'm a little bit early, you will put it straight into the net, or if I'm a little bit late, I will sail the ball deep. Every now and then, you won't have the time to slide over and shift to create space out to the side. So the fix, instead of snapping down or hitting a good sweeping volley, is we're gonna preset the paddle face. We're gonna get nice and low with our knees, and instead of snapping down, we're gonna push through the ball. Notice I'm leading with my hand and not the top of the paddle. When I lead with the top of the paddle, that's when my wrist gets engaged and I will send the ball either straight to the net or way out deep. Instead, we wanna make sure the hand is leading. So now I stay in that same line all the way through and I can push the ball down at my target. The last shot that players make the mistake of hitting a winner too soon is their initial first speed up. When you are at the kitchen line, there's a lot of dinking going on, and then you get that ball that you know you want to attack it. But when you get that ball, a lot of players, what they do is they'll take a very big windup. And when they take that big backswing, they hit the ball as hard as they can. And unless it hits the net or your opponent right in the chest, obviously you just lost a friend if you did so. But if it goes there, that's the only time you're gonna win that. If not, all of the other times, you're gonna send the ball deep or straight into the net because we're using too big of a backswing and going for too much when the ball is below net level especially. So instead, what we're gonna wanna do when we're speeding the ball up is make sure that we create enough space with our feet first by using a shuffle step. After we've created enough space, we're not gonna take our paddle back. Instead, we're gonna think of a paddle drop. When we think of a paddle drop, instead of taking our paddle back, that allows me to keep the ball out in front of me and it will limit my swing. From this position, instead of shoving the ball straight forward, what we're going to do is we're gonna brush up the back of the ball, which will give me some topspin and keep the ball in. So again, just make sure next time you're on the court, you're not going for too much, especially if the situation is not there. Make sure we're not taking too big of backswings and going for winners when the time doesn't present itself. If this video helped you at all, make sure you subscribe to the Briones Pickleball Academy YouTube channel, as well as my channel. Both channels are linked down below. Oh! Just drilled him. There we go, sorry.